This is one of the major decisions, along with Ronald Reagan making sure that college was expensive, is what's costing the United States. My dad graduated from Queens College in 1962. He went from 1958 to 1962. His college education from Queens College was less than $500 for all 4 years. That's a reasonable amount for college. My dad then used it to become an officer of the military, and he became a CPA in 1976, and he was a controller in an accounting firm from basically 1980 until he retired in the early 2000s. Education is important. My dad and my mom were both college educated before they were 25, as was I. And you get that because you have not just the people that are going to college help for that, you have corporations, and that's why the tax rate is so important. Reducing the tax rate put the burden of paying the bill onto the middle class and the lower middle class. And if you look today at what happened in 2017, if your taxes were below $100,000 in 2020, 2023, and then 2025, your taxes went up. I'm sorry, I was doing the math in my head. I apologize. My taxes are going to go up this year. I'm not going to play with them until the 29th because I want to see if they're going to change any language that they've spoken to people about. But that was done by the Republican Party. At the same time, last year, education was eroded $140 billion by the GOP. 15 GOP governors are not feeding children over the summer. Money was made available. In my state, Ron DeSantis took 260,000 people off of Medicaid. Again, federal money was available, he decided to. He also cleared the voting rolls. Now, I've been a little bit more apocalyptic about that, and I still don't like it. The idea being you clear out the voting rolls for people who didn't vote last time. Now, it's going to cause people to have problems. If you show up with your, not even your voter ID, just a regular ID, you can vote, and that's not a problem. You don't need to have a voter ID. But again, it's the idea that some people are not going to vote because they cleared the rolls. They don't want to deal with the hassle. That's unnecessary. And this is all connected because Ron DeSantis doesn't want people that are Democratic to vote because abortion is on our ballot this year. In fact, he doesn't want that on the ballot at all because, as you can see in Virginia and Ohio and Kentucky, being on the wrong side of abortion means you lose. The GOP has been watching this, and they know. It's the reason why in Minnesota they wanted to get rid of voting on college campuses. The kids can roll out of bed and go vote. Why should they be allowed to do that? That's the GOP perspective because they're for voter suppression. The GOP policies of gun proliferation has killed a generation of children. It has from 2004 to 20 years. It takes 20 years to grow an 18-year-old to use for combat, and these kids all have had combat inadvertently through childhood. I've stood by the door. I've hoped and prayed it wasn't going to me, and I don't believe in God. I hoped and prayed it was going to happen to my kids. I hoped and prayed that if it was happening, the cops would have been braver than the cops in Uvalde. But the problem is, they're human too. And they've seen, and they see much more than we do, what happens when projectiles hit human flesh. So there's legitimate fear. It doesn't matter that they have fear and they need to accept acceptable losses. Sorry, you're cops, you signed up for that. The one time you have to put your life on the line, motherfucker, you gotta put your life on the line. Because I'm sitting on the other side of the door with a baseball bat and a helmet, hoping I can beat the fuck out of the assailant and save my kids and not be wounded. Or if I'm wounded, I'm not wounded bad enough that I can't help my kids who are currently dying because, I'm trained in triage. I have 6 credits in Rocks for Jocks in college. And I took a 40-hour class in West Palm Beach on how to do triage in a classroom. Triage in a classroom. Bet you it would have been helpful for those people in Dallas, Iowa. Or that poor assistant principal that led the government away and died. But he's not a hero. We're going to talk about, not heroes. Donald Trump can't recognize the difference between Pelosi and Nikki Haley, and he's running for president. I want Joe Biden to debate Dean Phillips, and I want Donald Trump to debate Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, because I don't know how mentally competent they both are. They need to be on a stage being asked questions and getting out of their comfort zone so we can ascertain whether or not they're competent enough to do the job. The thing about Trump, it's always projection. All the projection about Sleepy Joe, it might be him, because Adderall and cocaine do terrible things to your cognitive abilities. And if the rumors are true, and the rumors were true about him screwing women and raping, so why wouldn't these be true? He's been doing blow and Adderall since, he's had the money to do so, which is a long time. Just a couple things to think about on a Saturday morning. May you all have a happy and safe weekend.